This is BBC 5 Live, available on the BBC iPlayer radio app.
So Mickey Tim in Newbury says, I was paying £64 a month for full fat Sky. Didn't ever have time to watch. When super fast broadband came to my village last year, I ditched Sky. Now watch catch up. YouTube, as you mentioned, Amazon. He's got Now TV passes to watch the cricket when he wants to, if he suddenly finds that he has the chance. There's a lot of flexibility out there, isn't there, if you can be on top of it?
I looked at my my bill yesterday, and it includes everything, broadband, phone and everything. It's about $113 a month, but it does mean that me and the missus can watch different programmes in different rooms.
She doesn't have to talk to you. Blimey.
She's impressed with that.
Yeah, Mrs. Clark's a lucky woman by the sounds of it. Callum says, though, on the flip side, no TV, computer, smartphone or DVD, just an FM, AM radio.
Oh, but like the old days, sitting in front of the wireless.
Yeah, maybe I'm missing something he says, but I don't really think so, unless you count all the bills and subscriptions. The reason we're talking about this is because later this morning, the Culture Secretary will make a statement to the Commons on the proposed buyout of Sky by Rupert Murdoch's 21st Century Fox. Karen Bradley will rule on this £11.7 billion deal, whether it needs more investigation. Ofcom will let her know what they think, and she will announce on the back of that. The plans, though, as Mickey mentioned earlier, already being given the all-clear by the European Commission, but there are worries here in the UK from critics that it's a threat to media plurality. Question whether Fox chief executive James Murdoch as well, not just about Rupert, who was heavily criticised for his role in the News of the World phone hacking scandal, meets the fit and proper persons test to hold the licence. We could talk to Martin Campbell, who's former chief advisor at Ofcom, and Matthew Garrahan, who's the Financial Times global media editor, recently wrote an extensive feature on the Murdoch empire. Morning to you both.
Good morning.
Matthew, just start with you. What does Rupert Murdoch and James Murdoch own and run in America and the UK?
Well, they have a pretty big, sprawling empire. In the UK, they obviously have the big newspaper portfolio. They own the Sun, they own the Sunday Times. They in the US, they have they own 40% of Sky, of course. In the US, much larger company, 21st Century Fox, that they control. They own the Fox News channel, which is a pretty right-wing, conservative-leaning news channel, as well as the 20th Century Fox movie studio, Fox Broadcast Network. So across the piece, they've got extensive interests in TV, movies, print newspapers and book publishing.
So, Martin, in all of that, if you're Ofcom looking at what they own, control and run, what are the issues?
Well, the things that Ofcom will look at are, as you mentioned earlier, the fit and proper test as to whether the people running it fit and proper. So they will have had a look at some of the sexual harassment allegations from over in the States from Fox News. But whether they will see that as particularly relevant to this, I think is probably unlikely. They've already had a look at James Murdoch and the fit and proper test. Actually, the newspapers tend to get this a little bit out of perspective. The fit and proper test is an ongoing duty for Ofcom to look at all their licensees. So there's not a special. Let's put Murdoch under the fit and proper microscope. It's something that goes on all the time. And last time they criticised him for some of the decisions that he made, but when they wanted to do this 6 or 7 years ago, but withdrew because of the phone hacking. And they looked at him and said, well, yeah, he's made some odd decisions, but the fit and proper test is a very high bar. Really, and it's unlikely that he'll fail that. The other thing that they'll look at, the control business. Well, all roads lead to Murdoch, and as Matthew pointed out, it's an incredibly complicated setup there, and I think it's unlikely that they'll say that the Murdochs have got too much control, because it wouldn't actually change that much. If they've got too much control, they've already got too much control. And the other thing is whether 21st Century Fox will adhere to the rules of partiality and accuracy, and that's an interesting one, because Fox News, Matthew says, yeah, it's right wing. It certainly is right wing.
Yeah.
It's a bit cavalier with its news.
Yeah. Matthew, it's been a bumpy ride for the Murdochs in the past few years, and whenever you look at the situation, there's never a Murdoch Junior not far away from the action. That's part of the problem, isn't it?
As Martin says, all roads lead to the Murdochs. I mean, they all lead to Rupert, really. I mean, he still is the kind of de facto leader of this News Corp, which is the mainly UK company with the print.
He's in his 80s now, isn't he?
He is, but there was this big succession planning situation that went down a couple of years ago, and he gave James and Lachlan, his two sons, these big beefy new jobs. So, and the two of them are the ones who really kind of pulled the strings on the deal for Sky. The question is, are they fit and proper? James was censured, I suppose, a few years ago when the last bid was withdrawn, and he was heavily criticised. And I just wonder about this federal investigation into 21st Century Fox, whether that or any of the sort of the issues around that, and that was all to do with the way they concealed payments to women who were being sexually harassed at Fox News. I mean, there's some pretty shady stuff going on there. The company said they cleared it up and that it was a one-off, but then they said that the last time when phone hacking happened, that it was this kind of a one-off situation that they had taken care of and wouldn't happen again. So, the Ofcom has a duty here to rule on whether they're fit and proper. But it's unclear if they will, and it's unclear even if it will happen today or if Ofcom will bounce it to the Competition and Merger Authority.
Martin, 6-7 years ago, when the height of the phone hacking scandal was going on, Rupert Murdoch withdrew this attempt before Ofcom had to make a final decision on whether James Murdoch was a fit and proper person and whether the deal should go ahead. Should it matter that it's just time that has passed, or should they act as if that phone hacking scandal was yesterday, when the News of the World ended up being closed because of the people they were hacking?
Well, as you say, it was 6 or 7 years ago. Since then, what they have done is split themselves into two businesses. News Corporation with newspapers, and indeed TalkSport. And 21st Century Fox for the TV and film, which would mean that their 39% of Sky was their only UK asset. If you say, well, here there are now the two sort of companies. So
time is a healer. That's effectively my question. Are you saying that because it happened? Yeah. I mean, there were pretty bad things that happened 6-7 years ago. It might have been a different decision from Ofcom then than now. So that lightens it a bit, does it?
Yes, I think it does. I think they will say yes. That was some time ago. The question is, as Matthew raises, the business at Fox and the sexual harassment allegations, as to whether they will see them as being particularly pertinent here. But of course, they're at the sort of early stages of litigation, and nothing's been proved. So it would be a brave decision, Prime Minister, for them to say, well, because of all this, we're going to maybe put a hold on it.
Martin, we'll have to leave it there. Martin Campbell, former Chief Advisor Ofcom, Matthew Garrahan from the Financial Times there.